Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Breaking news. Phillip Rivers is going to always want to play again. Talk to any retired football player. They're always going to want to play again. For the older football, they don't go by what he says. Phillip Rivers struggled when he did play. Talking about coming back 2 years out. I remember this. I realized that, and hockey players aren't a whole lot different than football players, but the football players are worse. You got to largely drag them kicking and screaming from the field. And I remember this, Dupes. You remember the old swamp dog, Ron Estee? I just talked to his wife a couple weeks ago. He was the defensive line coach for the Riders for years, and he felt like family to me. And his wife's Debbie, and they're living down there in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And he won. He was on those Eskimo teams, the 5 in a row, 70s as well, iconic Edmonton team. So the people in Edmonton would know the name Ron Estee. He's in the Eskimos Hall of Fame, Canadian Football Hall of Fame, LSU Tigers Hall of Fame. He's in every Hall of Fame. And he was the guy that talked like the water boy in the water boy. Who was the coach you couldn't understand? Was it the coach? Bobby Boucher? Swamp,
Yeah.
we could never understand him. He had this southern drawl. We couldn't understand him. But I remember one time, Estee, when he was with us with Saskatchewan, he said he would cut one arm, we'll win one point. We're like, what? You put subtitles under that? And I can't remember. One of the other coaches said he'd cut his arm off to have just one more play.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
Do you believe in sports curses? Mike White, who's supposed to be the next big thing with the Jets, goes down in the first quarter, but they're saying there's got to be a curse on the Jets. And our question to you, the viewers, is do you believe in sports curses? Can't make up my mind whether I believe in them or not. Because on one hand, I say the harder you work, the luckier you get. But on the other hand, I'm very spiritual and believe there's a plan and all the rest, so I don't know.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yes, as advertised, greetings, salutations, and welcome everybody inside the Grey Eagle Resort and Casino, where we are live with your favorite daytime sports talk show for the next 2 hours on Game Plus Television, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and of course we are Atlanta's NHL show on WQEE Shoutout Rhino Radio down there. Darren Moose DuPont joins us from the NHL's Bermuda Triangle, ready to talk sports for the next 2 hours. We had one of our guests drop out just before the show. You got to love when that happens. Sportsnet's Eric Engels will not be joining us from Montreal, so Clark's working on another NHL guest in hour one. If not, the Moose and I can handle it. And in hour two, I know this for a fact, Stanley Cup champion and Brandon Wheat Kings alum Chris Dingman will be joining us from, I believe he is in Edmonton, but Dinger will be with us in hour two. But we've got a lot of sports to get to today. Moose, what's got you fascinated today before we jump into the quick six? What's the top of mind thing for you?
The latest, what happened in the World Baseball Classic, and I know you're going to get to that, which was awesome. And then, man, I just keep everywhere I go, whether I'm watching SportsCenter this morning or whether I'm checking my notifications or scrolling the internet, it's the NHL playoff races. It just seems like it's a daily thing right now where I'm seeing those standings shoved in my face. So that's kind of the two things for me today.
Well, let me say this. Let's get it out of the way now. The daily poll for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center is quite simply, will you be watching the World Baseball Classic final tonight? Capital Auto Mall has dealerships all across the Canadian prairies and the state of California. And the last I looked, I did not tweet the poll, so if somebody has a spare hand on our staff, can you tweet it? I know Clark has put it up on YouTube, so thank you, Clark, for doing that. And I checked the standings so far. 70%. The first poll reporting, 1 out of 10 reporting, 70% saying no, they won't be watching the World Baseball Classic. And to be honest, it's in my commentary today. You can read that at rodpeterson.com or listen to it on Sask Radio. I bowed out of World Baseball Classic interest when Canada bowed out last week. But I'm like you can't ignore the hype of what went on last night in Miami. And the final is tonight, USA versus Japan. I think I'll be watching, although I might end up at the movies. I'm not sure yet. I'm just worried about getting through this show. Can you hit the quick six show horn, please, Director Jordan? And we will get down to business.
Right on.
Well, got so many things I want to get to. Of the highlights last night in Pittsburgh, and I watched this game. I found it quite boring until the end, but Drake Batherson scored a power play goal from in front with 2:09 to go. Dylan Ferguson stopped 48 shots in his first NHL game in more than 5 years, and the Ottawa Senators beat the Pittsburgh Penguins 2-1. That keeps the Sens playoff hopes alive, but for Dylan Ferguson, the former Kamloops Blazers goalie, second most saves ever in NHL history for a goalie making his first start. So that's awesome for Dylan Ferguson. But we're moving on. In Edmonton, Darnell Nurse scored at 4:45 of overtime to give Edmonton their fourth straight win by 4 over San Jose. Matthias Ekholm had 2 goals. Kailer Yamamoto had a goal and an assist. And Nick Bjugstad also scored to help the Oilers win for the 6th time in 7 games. Shout out Edmonton. Shout out Oil Nation. Yes, we're on the air from Calgary, but I feel like I really missed out on the game that I watched last night. I had a choice, and I waited for the Flames game, which I'm getting to. But I want to say this about Edmonton. I'm not jealous or envious of this, but I respect it. Darren, stick with me. It's the cozy little family thing they got going on between the Oilers, the fans, and the media, or at least some members of the media. Stick with me. Jason Gregor, TSN 1260, Edmonton radio, good friend of ours, comes on here regularly. His nephew plays for the San Jose Sharks, right? Noah Gregor. Last night, 3 goals for San Jose were reversed. 3 goals the Sharks had called back, and Gregor swore on Twitter. I didn't think you could do that because anytime I swear on social media, I get my knuckles rapped by the public. But Gregor did. And some Oiler fan in the mentions writes, uh-oh, Uncle Jason angry. She thinks it's funny. I think it's funny. Every time I thought about it this morning, I broke out laughing in the gym here at the great. You know what I mean? Uncle Jason angry. That the Sharks lost at Edmonton last night. Rashog's part of that family. Dustin Nielsen's in that family. Low Tide. They got a real cool thing going on up there at Edmonton with all of that group. Have you noticed?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is awesome. You know, they're just so dialed in with that team, and the fan base has built that connection with the media. It's something that doesn't happen at that scale. It doesn't feel like in a city of that size. That seems more like, you know, a small town thing. And they've been able to replicate that at a big city level, which is really cool.
Hey, you can't plan it. It just happened. So I find that really cool. Here in Calgary, and again, I'm getting to what the Flames did last night. I'm literally saving the worst for last. As a matter of fact, let's talk about something happier here. In Detroit, Alexander Barkov set the franchise record for most career points. Carter Verhaeghe scored 2 goals, and the Florida Panthers beat Detroit 5-2 for their 9th consecutive game over the Red Wings. And how about those Panthers? They're in a playoff spot. We're going to get to that here throughout the course of today's show with a lot of hockey talk. But the Panthers right now, if the playoffs open today, would line up against the Boston Bruins. They would probably end up being roadkill. But who knows? They've already beaten Boston once this year. I was there. They're very excited in Florida, and I follow a lot of their fans on social media. They're saying, why stop at 8? We're in 8th. Let's try to get 7th. They got something really exciting going on in Florida with the Panthers, and I'm going to be back there in May. I'm hoping that they're still playing hockey because it doesn't look like there's going to be any hockey here in Calgary. So I'll wind this up with this. Drew Doughty and Victor Arvidsson scored in LA's 4-goal first period. Adrian Kempe had 2 goals and a helper, and the Kings cruised into a first-place tie atop the Pacific Division, routing Calgary 8-2. Calgary couldn't catch up after allowing 4 goals in a first period for the first time since November of 2017. Now, Daryl Sutter wasn't here then, but Coach Daryl Sutter's teams hadn't allowed 4 goals in a first period since October 2014 when he was coaching the LA Kings. So even I'm a positive guy, Darren. But even I'm starting to wonder if the Flames are going to play like that. They came out, they put up a fight for about 3 to 4 minutes. And the Kings just weathered that, swatted them away, and then the Flames, they caved and wilted like a wet cardboard box. And it was sad to see. And I'm sitting here going, maybe it was intuition. I don't know what it was, but something struck me in my head, and you tell me if I'm crazy. And be honest, you probably think I am. But I'm like, maybe Daryl Sutter will pull a Paul Maurice and just step down and say, they're not listening to me anymore. They need a new voice. I'm not saying before the end of the season. We got to see how this all plays out. But it was ugly last night, man.
And that's a team that you would potentially be looking at playing in the playoffs. You know, that's a team that, you know, is going back and forth between first and second in that division, looking at playing Edmonton. We thought that might be Calgary. These are games also, you know, you need the points, games you need to win. You know, so right now the Flames aren't even sitting there saying we're picking up points to get into playoffs. We're not even a team right now that can beat a team in the playoffs. That's where it's really disappointing, is that's a team that you should be competing against in the spring. That to me was one of the more deflating games, and there's been a number of them over the last number of weeks, 6 weeks, but that was maybe the most deflating that we've seen for the Flames.
Well, and I don't really get it, but Craig Smith, our director of scouting's chimed in, and he's a football guy, but he's a hockey fan too. And he says, in this playoff race, Jets lose 3-0, Preds lose 7-0, Flames lose 8-2. At least the Flames scored 2 goals. He makes the good point, and there are Flames people that are tweeting me today, fans saying, hey, stay the course, got Anaheim tonight, flush it. But my point is, I just don't see how do you come out when you are supposed to be playing like your ass is on fire and play like that? Turning the puck over in your own zone. Listen, the Flames had 3 shots in the first period. The Kings had 4 goals. They weren't even in the game at all. Roger Yee checking in. He says, good morning, Rod Squad. Ali's checked in from Texarkana, the Stars fan. Jenna from Southern California, the Sabres fan. We got everybody here today for coffee. I'm trying to get to as many comments here as I can. Jackie from the audience says the Florida Panthers are killing it. Each time they beat some good teams, Lightning was like undefeated for so many games, and the Panthers spanked them. Well, but that's another good point. The Panthers went into Tampa. I watched that game. They won 3-1 and then came home the next game and laid an egg against the Nashville Predators. So I guess maybe Forrest Gump should be the spokesman for the NHL this season and say, you never know what you're going to get. You and me, Moose, go together like peas and carrots. There's that. But you never know what you're going to get in the NHL this year. So I guess stay the course, and the Oilers could lay an egg here at some point down the line too. But again, 8-2. Really? 8-2? There's Ryan O'Radio checking in, flying the ship from Atlanta's NHL show. And John Ohm, got to check in on Johnny. Let's be honest. Do you think if either the Oilers, Flames, or Jets make the playoffs, all will be beat in the first round of the playoffs? Just being realistic after what I've seen of late. And Kevin the Medium has slid into he has entered the chat. Kevin the Medium is here too, Moose. But you understand, it's become a thing. This isn't new. If you make the playoffs, it's a woo-sa. For most franchises, you get a bonus. Everybody with a team gets a bonus. And you guarantee you keep your job. Yeah. So all those teams are just clamoring, those bubble teams, to get in. And if you're like the Leafs, well, they might not be a good example because they could make the playoffs and lose in round 1, and Kyle Dubas could still lose his job. But
New
some
Jersey.
of these other teams, just make the playoffs and everybody keeps their job, you're saying?
Yeah. I think everybody's happy with what's happened there. The expectations weren't very high, so you get in. That's a good example. You get in, you're going to keep your job, right? Pittsburgh is another one, right? There's a few.
Appreciate everybody chiming in with the comments. Keep them rolling, but I'm going to move on. We'll come back on a lot of this. It's good. It's a big hockey day. Hey, don't miss comedian, actress, podcaster, and producer Whitney Cummings live at the Grey Eagle Event Center on Tuesday, April 25th. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.ca. This one threw me for a loop. Point 2 of our Quick Six show topics. The defending champion, USA, will play Japan in tonight's World Baseball Classic Championship Final last night in Miami. Japan rallied for a 6-5 semifinal win over Mexico. Shohei Ohtani sparked a 9th-inning rally with a leadoff double. And Munetaka Murakami hit a walk-off 2-run double to lift Japan over Mexico. Ohtani was 2 for 4 at the plate. And tonight they move on to face USA in the final. So we talked about this in the morning meeting, and I'm like, well, Clark, I think it was you. What'd you think of the game? He's like, I didn't watch it. Clark's busy.
Oh, no.
But I'm like, I just get into baseball. And Clark's not watching? What? But apparently Clark is like everybody else, or 70% of our audience that says they're not even going to be watching the final tonight, USA versus Japan. But it's Mike Trout versus Shohei Ohtani. That's what everybody's talking about in the baseball world. I think this is something you're going to want to watch. I'm just putting it out there. Don't want to tell people what to do. But this feels like an historic meeting, Moose, that we'll be talking about potentially for years. And I'm not even a big baseball guy.
It could be. I mean, I watched the highlights over and over this morning. I watched them a few times, and they played it, and it was wild, the walk-off, and then for Japan. And then they played the Japanese call of the broadcast back home, and that was really cool, too, how excited they were. So that kind of got me into it. That was the first moment, to be honest. That was the first moment where I felt, man, this has been really cool. I still don't know if I'm going to be watching the final. Hasn't been on my radar, but there's a little string that's being pulled on here with me that makes me think I might.
Yeah, it's an option. It's something to watch. But again, 70% in the Capital Auto Mall poll saying they won't be watching. Full disclosure here, I watched 5 hours of hockey. It would have been 6 hours of hockey last night, but I lopped off the last hour thinking there's no way the Flames are going to come back, and they didn't. Moving on to the Toronto Blue Jays. Starter Kevin Gausman pitched 3 1/3 sharp innings, and the Toronto Blue Jays beat the Pittsburgh Pirates 7-1 Wednesday in spring training baseball action. Gausman surrendered just 2 hits and 2 walks while striking out 7 and picking up the win. Whit Merrifield and Phil Clark each drove in 2 runs, and L.J. Talley had a solo homer for the Jays, who are off today. They'll take on Baltimore on Thursday. Yeah, and the Atlanta Braves are off today as well. I want to go back to that World Baseball Classic for a second. We only have a minute here, but how about those that are saying with all these injuries, Freddie Freeman got hurt, Diaz is done for the year. Hey, Japan, did you not learn anything from Diaz ripping his knee up, jumping around, celebrating? Didn't stop them from celebrating. But the World Baseball Classic, do you think it should be moved to mid-season like some are saying? Should it be pushed into the middle of the offseason, not during spring training? I'd like to think that it stays right where it is. I'm sure some of the managers, general managers, would like to see them scrap it entirely because of these injuries. How about we just leave it and don't tinker with it? What do you think? That would be my vote.
Yeah, I would say put it a little earlier. Middle of the offseason would be my vote. I don't hate where it is now because the players in the World Baseball Classic typically aren't the guys fighting for roster spots, in your organization at spring training. But maybe move it into a warm location and have it earlier in the offseason. I don't like the idea of putting it middle of the season. I really don't, because you want to make sure the best players play in this. And all that it would do, moving it earlier, it might, increase recovery time for guys that do get banged up during it. But I don't really have a problem with where it is.
So far, NHL and Major League Baseball in the Quick Six show topics. When we come back, Dub Hub, all other hockey playoffs. I've got some CFL stuff I want to get to. What's tonight's game of the night? We'll be right back. We're live from Grey Eagle Resort and Casino, Calgary's entertainment destination on Game Plus TV, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and your southern home of sports and talk, WQEE, The Key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
They're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
It's March, it's madness! Capital GMC Buick Cadillac has gone mad with crazy low pricing throughout the store. Capital has Sierra 1500s with rates starting as low as 1.49%. Over 400 new vehicles in stock. Or drive away in a GM certified pre-owned vehicle. They all come with a 150 plus point inspection and a 3-month warranty. It's March, it's madness! On now at Capital GMC Buick Cadillac, Saskatchewan's #1 GM retailer, capitalgmc.ca. Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Back live at Grey Eagle. If you love the timeless music of the Eagles, and who doesn't, then you can't afford to miss Hotel California, the original Eagles tribute on Thursday, April 27th. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.ca. We're in the middle of the warm-up and the Quick Six show topics. We can bring the Moose back in here now. Kirk is watching on Game Plus TV right now. He's in the Bridge City, Darren, and he says he's written in on the 902 text line, 902-518-3033. He says, crazy game between the Oilers and Sharks last night. Edmonton was lucky to pull it out as San Jose did not quit at all. Well, I'll say this about teams quitting. Jock Wilson made a really good point yesterday when he was sitting here saying, hey, San Jose, like he said, Columbus has done the best job of tanking by trading away your #1 goalie, because they've been junk ever since they got rid of Korpisalo. But you're never going to get a players or coaches quit on purpose. They're just not going to tank. He just said San Jose didn't quit last night. No. And if it wasn't for 3 goals called back, they win the hockey game. So I'm just saying, you're never going to get them to quit, and that's why we love hockey players. Speaking of, Dub Hub, the Western Hockey League announced that Regina Pats captain Connor Bedard, you may have heard of him, has been named WHL Player of the Week. The product of North Vancouver, BC, began his week with a 4-point effort Wednesday, scoring twice and adding 2 assists as God's team, the Regina Pats, doubled up the Brandon Wheat Kings 6-3. 2 nights later, Bedard factored in on all 5 Pats goals versus the Moose Jaw Warriors, registering a hattie along with 2 helpers as Regina clinched a playoff berth. And the Dub also announced that Red Deer goalie Kyle Kelsey has been named WHL Goalie of the Week. The product of Maple Ridge, BC, recorded a shutty in his lone start, making 34 saves as Red Deer blanked the Swift Current Broncos 2-0 on Friday. So that's my Dub Hub. Tonight in the Dub, Edmonton is at Swift Current, Vancouver's at Portland, Kamloops is at Seattle. I got my SJ playoffs up in front of me here because I'm following that very closely. Flin Flon's at Estevan tonight. You know Affinity Place is going to be coming off the hinges because their Bruins are down 0-2. Humboldt Broncos are at Nipawin. Broncos up 2-0, right? Battleford's at Weyburn. That's 1-1. Melford at LaRange. That's 1-1. Come on, Moose. This is exciting stuff. The barns are all full. This is what we live for.
That's the best time of year, man. We know it. It's awesome. Playoff hockey all across the country. It is fun. You can go to a game every night in your community at somewhere all across Canada, which is amazing.
I want to implore our audience, primarily those that are watching all across Canada, if you want to promote your Junior A team playoff game tonight or this week, write it in right now in the comments. Maybe you're watching on YouTube or text me. I'll read them on the air. Gosh knows there will be 10 teams at the Centennial Cup in Portage, Manitoba in May, representing 9 leagues across the country. I believe it's 9 leagues they'll be representing. That's a lot of hockey, man. It's too much for me to go here right now, but if you want to write me, I'll pass it along. And for the Florida Panthers fans that I've seen that are checking in from South Florida today, trust me, they've rubbed it in my face, Moose, that I wrote them off in December. Actually, I'm thinking if I wrote off the Calgary Flames, that might be what it takes for them to turn their season around. You know that way of thinking?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe if I give up on them, they'll turn it around. With Florida, I do distinctly remember saying this. They need to be 100% healthy. Do you remember me saying that and writing that? I said they're not deep enough to withstand the loss of a Barkov or an Anthony Duclair or shucks, an Aaron Ekblad. But right now they're playing with a full deck. They're 100% healthy and they're playing at 100%. Last year, on the way to a President's Trophy win and a 100-point season, they had injuries to all those guys and they overcame them to win the President's Trophy. So they're not as deep this year, but they are playing better. So kudos to the Florida Panthers. I'm talking to my, Jeff Pearson, the hotel magnate. I told him that I was going to be back home in Florida in May, and he's thinking of coming down, Moose, and watching some playoff hockey. I just pray that they will be, I just pray that they'll still be playing hockey by then.
I hope they win a few more games and avoid Boston. That'll do it. That'll help you a lot.
Are there any easy matchups in the NHL Eastern Conference? If you're the Florida Panthers or, let's say, the Islanders, is there anybody? No, you just got to take your chances and hope to be playing your best hockey, which, by the way, the bracket came out today. Well, they're going to put it out every day from NHL PR. And if you go to our Twitter and our Instagram, you'll see, and our Facebook page, I've put it all up there. I've had to amend my Stanley Cup playoff final picks because I don't think it's going to be Calgary, Florida. And that was my heart betting, not my head. I'm now saying Boston, Vegas, which incidentally, 2 years ago, EA Sports, their simulation said it would be exactly that. Vegas, Boston. So they're ahead of their time. I remember a couple years ago, Craig Button predicted a St. Louis, Boston Stanley Cup final. Didn't anywhere come close to happening. But the next year it did. And I said to Craig when I saw him, I said, hey, Butts, you're a year ahead of your time. You predict a Blues-Bruins Stanley Cup final for the first time since 1970. He goes, did I? Because I say so many things, I can't remember what I say and what I didn't. Anyways, so there's some of the playoff talk. And before we move on to football, get ready to sing along to all your favorite REO Speedwagon Classic hits Thursday, May 4th at the Grey Eagle Event Center. Tickets on sale at Resort and Casino at Ticketmaster.ca. I don't know, when I start dancing, I kind of get this Mickey Donovan thing going. I feel like I'm missing my Ray Donovan. I haven't watched it for a few weeks. I'm really missing it a lot. When's the last time you watched Ray Donovan, Moose?
It's been years, man. Years.
Like 10 years? But you still remember Mickey Donovan. The second I say it, you remember it, right?
Well, of course, but I didn't watch the whole series, so but there's so many to watch. I got to get back into it. It's just, I don't know where it falls on the depth chart of my priorities for TV viewing.
Sweetheart. Okay, to the football. I've been talking to my football boys today. This is point 5 of the Quick Six. The top national and global prospects are set to showcase their skills at this year's CFL Combine, presented by New Era at Commonwealth Stadium Fieldhouse in Edmonton this weekend. This year's event, and I don't know if you knew this, Moose, will be the first to feature the revamped 5-day formats. This is what they're going to do. Day 1, which is tomorrow, will see players take part in medical testing and measurements. Not that exciting. Thursday, day 2, will include traditional on and off field testing, including the 40-yard dash, the bench press, and more. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, as part of the revamped format, days 3 to 5 will be designated for practice sessions involving individual drills and one-on-ones that have been conducted in years past, as well as several new additions, including the pass skeleton and inside run sessions. CFL coaches will be leading positional groups and installing offenses and defenses. I know for a lot of people that's just mumbo jumbo, but it's not. And I'll tell you who it was. I don't mind saying. Mark Killam, the Calgary Stampeders special teams coordinator, came up and knocked me almost down the stairs at the rink in Canmore the other night. And he was like, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I got a buddy who's got 2 kids playing on Canmore." I said, "What are you doing here?" He goes, "Oh, my wife and the coach of Canmore, they're twin sisters. We married twin sisters. And I'm here supporting Andrew Milne." You know Andy Milne, the former Swift Current Bronco. So Mark's like, "You got to come to Edmonton. The who's who is going to be there. Anybody who's everybody will be there," or however you say it. And here's the thing. I don't really give 2 squirts of sweat about the combine results. I didn't care about the NFL combine. I don't care about this combine. And I don't care about the NHL combine. I'm not a combine guy. However, I want to go up and see the people. And I'm assuming the fans, like I talked to my guy, Lucas, at the CFL office today. He goes, I said, "What do I need to do to get in?" And he goes, "Just show up. Ask for me, and I'll get you the pass." You know Lucas. He's so cool that way. But it's about the personalities and the people, Darren. I remember a player, I don't mind saying, Braden Lenius, plays in the league right now. He had a cup of coffee with the Atlanta Falcons, played with the Washington Huskies college, and now he's a rider receiver. When he went through the CFL Combine, his mom and I'm now that old, his mom and I talked about it because I knew her from before. She said, I said, "How was the Combine?" When they came back from Toronto. Shauna's her name. And she goes, "Combine was great, but Braden was really excited because he got to meet Richie Hall." You know, he'd been watching Richie since he was a little lad. You know, this is when he interviewed with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So for these players and the prospects, who knows? What are the odds? 90% of them will never play it down in the CFL. That's why it bores me. But I'll be excited to go to Edmonton and see Chris Jones and Superman, G. Simon, right? And Mike O'Shea. I'll get brushed off by Mike O'Shea like I always do. That's what it's about. Craig Smith, our director of scouting, writes it. He goes, "I love what they're doing with the Combine. Wished I could go." Jeff in Winnipeg says, "Careful, Rod. Farmers with combines might take offense." But offense to what? Oh, that I'm not into combines? Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
I'm not into those combines either. You could lose an arm in one of those suckers. I know people who have. But anyways, you see what I'm saying? Do I have you sold on the CFL Combine yet?
Why not? Why not? It's as close as you're going to get to Grey Cup week in the spring, right? Before training camps start. It'll kind of be a chance to get everybody, the boys and girls, back together and you know, shoot the spit and have some fun, you know, talk shop, and then get ready for training camps in May. I think it's fun, and it should be made into a bigger deal. I really wish it was, and happy that you're going to go up there.
I don't know how you would do that. This is like a mini CFL week is kind of what it is. So I just want to go up and see the guys. And then for me, it's a tank of gas. It's a commentary that we might get into next hour, but I had a media. The mainstream media is falling apart, okay? It's they're dropping bombs on themselves. I had a guy saying, well, Post Media is not sending a reporter on the road with the Flames. They're not sending a reporter on the road with the Stampeders. They're not doing this. Well, that's their problem and fault then. Because for me, it'll be a tank of gas to drive up to Edmonton. You and I have done it to go to games. I'll go up there, spend some time Saturday, turn around, come back, and go to the Flames and Sharks Saturday night in the Saddle Dome. Who the hell are we? Are we mainstream? I guess so, but I'm saying why? I don't need to have the corporation pay for a tank of gas for me to go to Edmonton to be part of something that I should be at, that I've been invited to go to. To me, it's a lot of laziness. Now, I'm not saying the Flames reporter should buy a plane ticket to go to L.A., Danny Austin. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is you don't need to fold up the tent either. John, and you look like you have a point, Moose, before I go to some viewer comments.
No, I think, trust me, you and I provide different perspectives, which is great. I can look at it from the business perspective saying, Rod, all the interviews are online. The media conferences are streamed live. You can write your articles from anywhere in the world, right? And get the same article, and that you can watch the game and you can get all the information. But the difference is when you're at the games, you feel a little different. You feel more connected. And then things happen organically. You're tweeting about it more. You're getting photos in the city. You're bringing that experience to the viewers and the readers and the listeners. So there are some spill-off benefits outside of the report, the article, and just covering the game.
Well, you're saying you're coming at it from the boss's angle, those that are running Post Media and Rogers and Bell. And that's, yay, for those that don't know, you're the boss of what we do here. But on the flip side, you also let me do whatever the hell I want.
Yeah.
And it's all worked out. You know that I'm going to pay for that tank of gas on my own. And I'll be happy to do it. By the way, John in Edmonton says limited viewing spots at the CFL Combine. That's what Edmonton Elks fans were told. Okay, well, we can delve into that a little bit as the show goes along. Are they having a lottery of spots for people to come watch the Combine, or how are they going to do it? But the point is, it's about the talk, it's about the hype, it's about the buzz. That's what they want. And one thing that these leagues don't understand, it might sometimes be critical talk, but that's far better than no talk, you know? We'll be right back with a whole lot more. It's the RP Show, live from Grey Eagle Resort and Casino, Calgary's entertainment destination. We're live on Game Plus Television, iHeartRadio, and your southern home of sports and talk, WQEE, The Key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
It's March. It's madness. Capital Ford has gone mad with crazy low pricing throughout the store. Save up to $7,000 on a brand new F-150. They have over 150 available right now. Or drive home in a new to you used vehicle. Plus, Capital Ford offers the highest guaranteed trade-in value, or they'll give you $500 cash. Get your hands on a new ride before they come to their senses. On now at Capital Ford. Visit CapitalFordLincoln.com.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
The SJHL raffle is underway with your chance to win a brand new Polaris side-by-side, courtesy of the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. Tickets are available now until April 23rd, with the draw taking place live on SJHL Insiders April 27th. 1 for $25, 3 for $60, or 10 for $100. But there are only 5,000 tickets available. Get yours today at sjhlraffle.ca.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Live look-in. It rocks. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. That's where we're broadcasting live from. And we are live at the Stage Bar. A sports update before we bring the Moose back in, and then I will get to some of your comments as well. Canada's Carrie Anderson fell 7-6 to Switzerland's Silvana Terinzon in a battle of the top two teams at the World Women's Curling Championship this morning. Switzerland went to 6-0, while Canada is now 4-2. Anderson's Gimli, Manitoba rink will also play winless New Zealand in the opening draw. There are 13 games in the National Hockey League tonight, and I'll remind you, thank you Ryan Radio in Atlanta for reminding everybody that we are Atlanta's NHL show. I can't get enough of that. The Toronto Maple Leafs are at the New York Islanders tonight. The Leafs have won 2 straight and sit second in the Atlantic Division, 3 points up on Tampa. The Lightning are at Montreal. Elsewhere, Ottawa's at Boston. Winnipeg hosts Arizona. Calgary visits Anaheim, and Vancouver welcomes Vegas. And that matchup between Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani in the World Baseball Classic may not happen. Japan rallied in the 9th inning to beat Mexico and advanced to tonight's championship game against the USA, but Ohtani may not start on the mound for Japan. If Trout bats against his LA Angels teammate, it would only be if Ohtani makes a rare relief appearance. This sports update for Landmark Cinemas. Sign up for Landmark Extras and see what's playing at landmarkcinemas.com. Here's what's on at the movies right now. Scream 6 in theaters now, following the latest Ghostface killings. The 4 survivors leave Woodsboro behind and start a fresh chapter. Let's bring in the Moose now, Darren Moose Dupont. He is in the NHL's Bermuda Triangle. And Moose, I don't know about you, if you're going to catch a flick this week or not, but when I was going to Champions last week at Landmark Cinemas, I saw the preview for Scream 6. And to be honest with you, I got a little scared. And by that, I mean my heart fluttered. Have you seen any of the clips, the previews for Scream 6? We've lost your audio. How come I can't hear him? Is that just me? Clark, is it you? I can't hear him.
Yeah, no, it's Darren, I think. Hold on.
I think you got me,
Darren,
Rod.
now try, Darren. Yeah, we got you now. We didn't.
All
good. So did you see the previews for Scream 6?
Yeah, of course. I don't know if I'm going to go. Scary movies aren't typically my thing. I'm a little bit of a baby that way. But I will go if I find somebody to go with. The Scream, though, there's some nostalgia there, right? We grew up with the Scream movies. Of course, I've seen them, so I kind of want to see Scream 6.
Well, I'll give you a little glimpse. Imagine this, they're on a subway, and it's like Halloween, and everybody's wearing a mask. You know what I'm saying? So they're sitting there watching, going, Who's going to kill me and who isn't? Can you imagine the terror? Because of me being an empath, I'm thinking, I can only imagine what they're thinking being in the middle of that. Scary as heck. Anyways, from the 902 text line, Roger in Calgary writes in, and he says, Roddy, we should go to the Brooks Bandits game this Friday. Reigning AJHL champions. Also, we should grab lunch one of these days while you're here. Signed, Roger in Calgary. Well, I'm going to tell you this, Roger. Let's just settle in. What are we in round 1 of the AJ playoffs? I'm assuming Brooks will go all the way to the final because they always do. This Friday, it's not going to happen because I'm going Saturday to the CFL Combine and then the Flames and Sharks Saturday night. So no, no, I'm not driving to Brooks on Friday. But put me down as a yes for down the line. And Jeff in Hamilton, Ontario says, is the Combine or a portion of it open to the public? Let me say this again, Moose, say it with me. We are not the PR arm of the Canadian Football League. I cannot answer those questions. And this is not the CFL's fault per se, but here's the problem that we get into. We get everybody all whipped up into a lather for things like this, and then everybody comes to us with these types of questions. I don't know. I guess we could be the conduit as much as we can.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not the PR arm. DM the CFL or the Edmonton Elks. Ask them. I don't know the answer to that.
We need to get you some cardboard cutouts. You know that Al Borland used to have on Tool Time? And that's Tim Taylor, care of Tool Time at Tim at Tool Time. You need CFL PR. That's 555-5555. Call the CFL office.
Yeah, I don't know. Ask them. That's all I can say. I would like to be the guy that can answer your questions, but I'm not the guy that can answer your questions, okay? And my stress level goes, whoop, drops significantly when I'm not trying to answer questions that I'm not responsible for. John in Edmonton says, take the RP show to a new casino, Pickering Casino in Pickering, Ontario. Not only would I love to do that, but I'll say something about Pickering. Remember the Pickering Panthers last year at the Centennial Cup, the Junior A team? I loved them right out of the jump because of their unis. It's very hard to go wrong with red, white, and blue. But I very quickly stopped liking the Pickering Panthers because they're the only team wearing full face shields or full cages, and they were high-sticking everybody. They left more blood and teeth on the ice than the 70s Philadelphia Flyers last year, the Pickering Panthers. I can't remember who the name of the former Leaf who coached them, and I assume he still is because they won the league last year, the Pickering Panthers. Can somebody tell me who the former Leaf is that coached the Pickering Panthers? I'm not going to put you on the spot, Darren, for the answer to that. Craig, our director of scouting, says there's not a lot of room at the Elks facility in terms of welcoming the public in. So, hey, the current Pickering Panther coach, Rob Pedersen, former Leaf. That's the guy. He has his team playing dirty. That's all I want to say. Actually, I was watching the Kings and the Flames last night thinking about Todd McClellan back in the day and his tactics coaching the Swift Current Broncos that I wasn't exactly enamored with. But that's just me. That's just me. Everybody's going nuts about Fanatics being the NHL jersey supplier. Apparently Nike does MLB, NFL, NBA, but Fanatics is doing the NHL jerseys. What am I missing, Darren? Why do people care so much about stuff like this? I don't understand.
Well, it's a big change. Fanatics is really still a fairly young company, even though they've just done amazing things. Now is the official merch provider for all those major sports leagues, running all the NHL shops and NFLshops.com, and just wildly successful. Through their shops, they've kind of taken over from what New Era was. New Era had a foothold in the hat market and in some of the merch market. Now it's Fanatics. But I think in terms of the jersey, we're used to seeing those bigger names, whether it was Adidas or Nike or, we see Under Armour now stepping up. I know they're not quite at the Nike and Adidas level, but they're still a big player. And Fanatics doesn't feel like it's at that player, at that stage. But I think this is a big opportunity, and I think they'll do a great job. Everything they've done has proven that Fanatics is going to have great jerseys.
We'll take a brief pause and be back with Audience Takeover. Chris Dingman coming up in hour 2. Stanley Cup winner with the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Colorado Avalanche. We're live from Grey Eagle Resort and Casino on Game Plus Television, iHeartRadio, your favorite podcast platform, and your southern home of sports and talk, WQEE The Key.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Hey Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersenshop.com.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
It's March. It's madness. Capital Ford has gone mad with crazy low pricing throughout the store. Save up to $7,000 on a brand new F-150. They have over 150 available right now. Or drive home in a new to you used vehicle. Plus, Capital Ford offers the highest guaranteed trade-in value, or they'll give you $500 cash. Get your hands on a new ride before they come to their senses. On now at Capital Ford. Visit CapitalFordLincoln.com.
Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ain't she a beauty? Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. We are the gateway to the foothills. And thank you, sir. Look at, how about a hand for you? One of a few Colorado Avalanche fans that I know. Live studio audience here. Guys born and raised. Were you born here? Yeah, born and raised Calgarian. Cheers for the Colorado Avalanche. Don't ask. It's a long story. But he liked the Quebec Nordiques even before that. Let's bring in Darren Moose DuPont, which, by the way, I said to the gentleman, he's one of the security guards here, and his name is Rod, by the way. That's how I'll never forget his name. Pretty good run being a Colorado Avalanche fan, wouldn't you say, Moose? 3 Stanley Cups in their time. And as he points out, more than the Flames.
Well, they move. They're instantly successful. Short period of time. They've had great players come through. They took a little dip down when they were missing the playoffs and right back to the top. It's good management, good structure, good brand. They got good things going on in Colorado.
Yeah, well, the next time that I talk to Randy Moeller, and next time we bring him on this show, we'll have to talk about his time with the Quebec Nordique and how, if they feel they set the table for the Colorado Avalanche, because they obviously did. I mean, it's a hell of a story if you go back and look into it. Mike Ricci and Owen Nolan and obviously Joe Sakic was an original Quebec Nordique. They got a hell of a history. I can't believe... Northside YEG. I love this guy. He's from Edmonton. Writes in, he says, Flames are done, eh? Just worry about your own team, which it's a daily thing in this province, and I love it. I love the debate. Who's better, Flames or Oilers, Oilers or Flames? Right now, there's no debate. That was settled last year in the Stanley Cup playoffs. The Oilers won in 5, and they have not relinquished the title. And now here they are, fairly comfortably, I would suggest, on their way into the playoffs. The Edmonton Oilers, they've won 4 in a row, and the Flames are left to pick up the pieces. By the way, with regards to tonight's game of the night in the NHL, 13 games, man. 13 games in the NHL. And Craig Smith, our director of scouting, says Jets at home to Arizona. Coyotes are 6-2-2 in their last 10 and on a 4-game win streak. Oh, boy. See, that's the thing. People can sit and get upset all they want, and I understand it with the Flames. There's no doubt. And to be honest, maybe I'm kind of being sucked into the negative nature of this town with regards to the Flames, because everybody's down on them. They can't think that way. They're going into Anaheim tonight. The Jets could lose to Arizona, and all of a sudden they're 2 points back of the Jets for the final playoff spot. But, man, you kind of you absorb the mentality of your surroundings. You know what I'm saying?
You do, and you have to look for every possible reason to stay positive and every possible reason to block out the noise. You talk about putting blinders on like a racehorse. I think that's important, block out the negative. I mean, it was negative last night, but the Jets lost too, so now all of a sudden you can find the positive. Yeah, a win tonight and the Jets loss, you got a lot more positive things happening if you're in Calgary. So that's a good thing.
Right, but again, Rod and I both watched the start of that game, but not the end. Not together, but we were talking about it earlier, and the Flames just were not in it. Their heads were not in it. And they look like a team that just doesn't want to be there. Last minute of play in hour 1. Updating the poll, by the way, for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center. Will you be watching the World Baseball Classic final tonight? Now 52% on Twitter saying yes, 37% saying no, and 11% saying the what? And the responses are good. Max in Toronto says, I would be watching if the Leafs weren't playing or if Canada was in it. I think we are, as a nation, we are that. If the Blue Jays are relevant, if Canada's in it, we're going to watch, but I'm not watching generally if they're not. But in this case, I think I'll be tuning it in, unless I go to the movies, because that's a tantalizing option as well. Moose, you're sticking around for hour 2?
You betcha.
All right, Chris Dingman coming up as well. 2-time Stanley Cup champion after this brief pause.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
The SJHL raffle is underway with your chance to win a brand new Polaris side-by-side, courtesy the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. Tickets are available now until April 23rd, with the draw taking place live on SJHL Insiders April 27th. 1 for 25, 3 for 60, or 10 for 100, but there are only 5,000 tickets available. Get yours today at sjhlraffle.ca.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Do you believe in sports curses? Mike White, who's supposed to be the next big thing with the Jets, goes down in the first quarter, but they're saying there's got to be a curse on the Jets. And our question to you, the viewers, is do you believe in sports curses? Can't make up my mind whether I believe in them or not. Because on one hand, I say the harder you work, the luckier you get. But on the other hand, I'm very spiritual and believe there's a plan and all the rest, so I don't know.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Hour 2 of your favorite daytime sports talk show, coming to you live from the Stage Bar at the Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. And I'm reminding or informing people daily, we're on television, the Game Plus television network, channel 924 on TELUS across Alberta and BC, and call your cable provider across the rest of Canada, and on the television in 31 U.S. states. We're Atlanta's NHL show. We're on the radio, 99.1 FM WQEE. Shout out Ryan O Radio. And your favorite podcast platform, you can find us there. Let's bring in the Moose now. He gets all of this. But you can imagine Saturday night, Darren. Are your nights like mine? I'm in a luxury suite at the Saddle Dome for Baker Hughes, meeting some oil guys. They're like, oh, you got a podcast? What is it? They call, one guy's on Spotify, next guy's on Apple. They're trying to find it, blah, 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 blah. It's like literally one person at a time. I'm informing them of this is what we do, this is where we are. We're only 963 episodes in. You know that, right?
No big deal.
And people are just finding us. No, I'm just saying people just finding us now for the first time.
Of course. Yeah, I know. And that's what's so fun about this is we feel like, we've done so much and we've gone so far and, we have enough, so many people that have watched our show and continue to watch, and we so appreciate that. But we can find new people every day, and it's awesome to find new people and make new relationships and find new viewers, and that's what keeps us going every day.
Well, I put this in my weekend column, 10 things I was reading in the magazine Entrepreneur on the flight up here from Florida. Different is better than better. If you're different than everybody else, that might be better than being better than everybody else. And we sure the hang are different than everybody else. And trust me, we're going to get to the top game of the night in the National Hockey League because there are 13 games tonight, including the Flames at the Anaheim Ducks. But probably the comment that's got people going off the most today from our audience is this NHL jersey thing. I don't know why people care so much. Where do you even find this out, that Fanatics is going to produce NHL jerseys beginning next season? Now people are writing in. Trevor in Winnipeg says, I have Reebok, Adidas, and Fanatics. Adidas is the best. Darren watching in Utah says Starters still makes the highest quality gear and no one uses them. And yet we've got the CFL Combine this weekend in Edmonton presented by New Era. They do apparel, right? They do the CFL jerseys and hats and all the apparel and all that stuff. And people act like Under Armour's the redheaded stepchild or the drunk uncle that nobody wants to talk about. Under Armour, you know, my entire closet is Under Armour. I think Under Armour is the only thing. You're wearing it?
Yeah.
That's my favorite, but I don't get why people get so wrapped up in this. Other than I guess people wear it every day and they feel like it hits home to them.
Yeah, and they want to know that the jerseys are going to be good, so it's a trust factor. Under Armour is the interesting one because their market share is so small, but they're growing. They're still so young in terms of the growth and where they're at, and you look at who they're attached with. Tom Brady, Dwayne Johnson, right? Like they're going after it, and you know, Adidas and Nike are two mega giants. Fanatics and Under Armour are still, you know, babies in this whole process, but they both put out quality stuff. I don't think fans have any need to be concerned about who the leagues decide to use as their partners.
No, not at all. And the whole idea is so that you are buying a jersey every year. That's the whole idea of, or two or three. So, by the way, I mentioned the 13 games in the NHL tonight. The bracket has been unveiled by the NHL for the Stanley Cup playoffs, but you understand this is going to change every single day right up until the playoff time. NBA question has come in. It was from John in Winnipeg. John, regarding their play-in tournament, and we'll get to that. But if you'll bear with me, Darren, let's just have a little fun thing here for a second. I'm going to my Score app, the greatest app ever invented, and the playoff picture tab. Trust, you don't need to do it. I'll do it. Here's the playoff matchups if they started today in the National Hockey League. And I don't need to tell you the Flames wouldn't be in them, but the Oilers and Jets will, and the Leafs. Boston versus Florida in round one. Who wins? Dare I ask you? Okay, I'll say Florida. Just because. The comeback Cats.
How about that?
And are they hot lately? Toronto, Tampa Bay, round one. Leafs with home ice advantage. Who wins?
Tampa.
No. Says the Leafs fan. How about this? The Carolina Hurricanes, who incidentally play the Rangers tonight, and if the Hurricanes win, they'll achieve 100 points already. They face the Islanders in round one, as it stands today. Hell of a series there, man.
Oh, yeah. I'll take the Hurricanes. I got them going to the Cup still. But I'll take Carolina.
Then I'll take the Islanders. And I guess that's my point. I asked the boys, who's your Stanley Cup final combatants now? You said, and I give you credit, Moose, you haven't wavered. How's it feel to pick something and stick with it? Doesn't it feel
pretty good?
Colorado, Carolina. That's a country song.
Yeah.
That's Colorado, Tails, Carolina. That's what Moose is saying for his Stanley Cup final. I'll say the Islanders just to be a fly in the ointment, even though that ticks off people considerably in Carolina, as we've learned. As you can pick us up on WQEE there on the Carolinas. Who knew? And how about this? Devils versus Rangers, round one, somewhere David Putty is painting his face. Seinfeld reference. You might not be old enough. Devils, Rangers. Who do you like in round one?
I just like the Rangers. I think there's more experience there. I think the Rangers will upset and spoil the party that is the Devils season.
I'll pause this for a second. Craig Smith, our director of scouting, says G. Roy Simon, Canadian Football Hall of Famer, says knows the fellow who started Under Armour. Knows him. He played with them with the Maryland Terrapins. Don't ask G-Roy. It's a sore subject. The guy's name is Kevin Plank, and they were teammates together. NCAA football. Kevin Plank started this clothing company. He said, G-Roy, you might want to invest. Would you be interested in investing in my company? It's for gear for athletes. We're going to call it Under Armour. G-Roy's like, I'll pass.
Oh, no.
That's a true story. Western Conference first round, the Dallas Stars, which incidentally my family still cheers for. I do not. But my brother and his daughter, they're all Stars fans because of my dad. They would play the Seattle Kraken in round one, which, you know our guy Reed Johnson out there in Seattle from the Mark Cast, the XFL podcaster, he's saying Seattle's going to make it all the way to the Stanley Cup. And I said, come on. An expansion franchise making it all the way to the Cup in their second year? What do you think, this league's a joke? Oh, wait.
I'm going to...
Who's to say they won't?
Yeah. They might not. They might. But we're going to make somebody mad. It's either going to be Reed or Allie. Allie's watching, and I like her better today. So Dallas. I'll take Dallas.
I'll go with Dallas, too. Even though I don't think I know anybody with that organization anymore, and that's fine. I'll go with Dallas. The Colorado Avalanche versus the Minnesota Wild. Be a hell of a series, man. Marc-Andre Fleury's won his last 7 straight starts for Minnie.
It'll be great, but I got to go with Colorado.
Minnie is at New Jersey tonight. That'll be a heck of a hockey game. The Vegas Golden Knights versus the Winnipeg Jets. Manitoba's team versus the Winnipeg Jets. What do you think?
I'll go with the Jets. You know, if they get in, they're going to be confident, I think, if they get in, because they have to get it together going in. That would be a big upset, though, because Vegas is very good.
Vegas is rolling. They're rolling. I would take Vegas to win that, and clearly, because I said a Vegas-Boston Stanley Cup final. And the Los Angeles Kings versus the Edmonton Oilers. It would be a rematch of last year. And what you think? I'm actually very curious to hear what you think would happen in that series.
I think
I
have a feeling that LA's going to, get their revenge here and maybe upset the Oilers. I think it would be an upset. Even if LA's got home ice advantage, if that's how it works out, I think it would be an upset. But I'll take the Kings just because it was Edmonton who won last year.
I'll take the Edmonton Oilers. And again, I chose the wrong game last night to watch. That's on me. I watched the Flames and the Kings, and it wasn't a game. It was 4-0 for the Kings after the first period. The Flames, if you missed off the top of the show, it's 11-11 Mountain, by the way. Visualize a positive outcome, Moose. 1:11 Eastern. Flames came out and put up just a mild fight. It was like the little brother fighting against the big brother, is what it was. And the Kings just held them off until the Flames lost interest, and then it didn't take long, and they were up 3-0 like 10 minutes into the first period. It was sad. Now, on the other side, the Oilers-San Jose game, Oilers win it in overtime. Darnell Nurse on a breakaway? What? There were how many goals called back in the game? 7 goals called back? I got it here. No, 4 goals were reversed. 3 for the San Jose Sharks. And it was, everybody was tweeting because I'm watching Twitter while watching the Flames game, and they're all saying, this game's drunk. The officials are out to lunch. They're blackout. All these reverse goals. And then Darnell Nurse scoring on a breakaway in overtime. What? Can we pause for a second and talk about a societal issue? And I don't know why it is every day I go into squirrel territory on this show, but I see James Reimer was, to use the hockey term, standing on his head last night for the Sharks. Clearly, he was not bothered at all by the online cancel culture crowd because he refused to wear the pride jersey for the Sharks coming up here. I know that you have thoughts on the LBGT movement in the National Hockey League, and hockey's for everybody, as do mine. But James Reimer's just the latest. What do you think about his statement on the weekend?
Well, again, it was dumb. I think it was dumb was the first reaction. But at the same time, you know, countering hate with hate's not the right way to approach it, right? If you could take a page out of the Ted Lasso handbook, it would be to handle these situations with compassion, right? Even when we're dealing with people
How would Ted Lasso
like,
deal with it? Yeah.
Right? Even when we're dealing with, you know, guys like James Reimer. I mean, we get confused on, you know, what it means for him to wear or not wear the jersey. What I'd like to think, and again, this is my opinion, is that you can believe things, and I understand that. You know, if you support other people and you really believe in equality, you'll wear the jersey even if you don't believe in it, because you should know in your heart what you believe. And what you wear as a jersey, what you wear on your head, or what kind of tape you put on your stick shouldn't affect what's in your heart, right? So you should be able to do that and support other people in a way that doesn't damage your beliefs internally. That's kind of what I believe. But again, I'd have to sit down and have a one-on-one with James Reimer, which I'd kind of love to do.
Well, I admire you putting your balls on the table with that commentary. I really do. Because I guess if in his heart he does not support a gay lifestyle, wearing a jersey would be going against his heart, so he would be being fake. Now, because I'm looking at this going, number one, there's no right answer. So you have your opinion, I have mine, James Reimer has his, the LGBT folks have theirs. It's like Colin Kaepernick. It's a peaceful protest. He took a knee. Who's he hurting? Ended his career. You know what I mean? So there's that. That's why I know this is a very, very touchy subject. And Luke Prokop, the former Calgary Hitman, Edmonton Oil King, and now he's with the Seattle Thunderbirds. I believe he's with Seattle. First openly junior player ever. I'm sure you saw his statement come out and said he was disappointed in James Reimer. Luke said, I want to play in the National Hockey League, and I'd like to believe that when I walk into a dressing room for the first time, everybody in the room would have my back. Can't argue with that. But I also feel like you can't make James Reimer or anybody do something that they don't want to do. I don't think that we're ever going to find the appropriate answer to this. The world of inclusion. But Luke Prokop said it very well. And by the way, tomorrow, we've got Theoren Fleury coming up here live at the Stage Bar at Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. I've had people write into this show and say, oh, good, not watching. Why do you give him a platform? What? Because he's a longtime friend, a survivor of child sexual abuse. He still battles a stigma for reasons, causes that aren't his own fault. I'm a Theo Fleury guy. I'm always going to be a Theo Fleury guy. And if you don't like it, don't watch. And if you never watch again, I don't want you. So that's my take on Theo. So this is the world that we live in. And I know there's a lot of people very excited that Theoren Fleury, one of the greatest all-time Flames, is coming down here tomorrow. I've already got a lineup of stuff for him to sign. So if you don't like it, don't watch, but don't threaten me. Because, as the U.S. government says, we don't respond to threats. Chris Dingman on the way. It's the RP Show on Game Plus Television, YouTube Live, iHeartRadio, and your southern home of sports and talk, WQEE, The Key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina. It's March, it's madness! Capital GMC Buick Cadillac has gone mad with crazy low pricing throughout the store. Capital has Sierra 1500s with rates starting as low as 1.49%. Over 400 new vehicles in stock. Or drive away in a GM certified pre-owned vehicle. They all come with a 150 plus point inspection and a 3-month warranty. It's March, it's madness! On now at Capital GMC Buick Cadillac, Saskatchewan's #1 GM retailer, capitalgmc.ca.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
RP Show continues live from Great Eagle Resort and Casino. Hey, if you love the timeless music of the Eagles, and who doesn't, then you can't afford to miss Hotel California, the original Eagles tribute on Thursday, April 27th, right here at the Great Eagle Event Center. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.ca. Let's bring Darren Moose DuPont in. He is in the NHL's Bermuda Triangle. I mentioned on Wednesday, Theoren Fleury here live on stage at the Stage Bar. 1,000 games in the NHL, 1,000 points in the NHL, Stanley Cup champion, Olympic gold, you name it. Jeff in Winnipeg writes in and says, I'm a Theoren Fleury guy, even though I disagree on his stand. I agree and disagree on his stand. Okay, well, get that sorted out, Jeff. Either way, Theo's going to be here tomorrow. Regarding James Reimer, Colin Kaepernick, guys taking a stand. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says Kaepernick was benched before he started kneeling. At this point, I don't think it really matters. Stephen in North Dakota says accepting a person's decision does not mean agreeing with it. Media groups love, if it bleeds, it leads. Jumping to conclusions, any attention is better than no attention. You understand that that's a fact, and I don't really blame the news outlets. So frankly, it's why I don't watch them anymore. I get upset about CNN and Fox. And don't get me started on ours in Canada. Darren gets it as the business guy. I mean, we started a heck of a debate earlier about the media in this country, not so much in the USA at all. I don't understand why there's so different between the two, but in Canada, here in Western Canada, the newspapers, the radio stations, the TV, not sending reporters on the road with the teams. And you said that you get it as a guy that's controlling the purse strings of a media company, IP the RP show. You get it. On the flip side, I'm saying I'll pay for a tank of gas to go up to the CFL Combine this weekend on my own because I want to be there. And a lot of reporters aren't willing to dig into their own pocket and go do something like that. Shoot, I know ahead of their time was the Regina Leader-Post. They stopped paying for the reporters to go to Moose Jaw, 30 miles away, maybe 40, to cover the Pats Warriors so the reporter wouldn't go. I'm like, you cheap son of a... Don't you want to watch the game? You won't go because your boss won't pay for your gas to go 30 miles? You're the problem, not management. And how I talked myself into this, I have no idea. Did I have a point?
I'm not sure, but it's the way we're moving. And, but you driving to Edmonton, it's an opportunity to stand out, to be there. And one thing that I was told a long time ago when I was sitting at a morning skate, a hockey game, playoff game, in the crowd, and maybe one of 3 people that were at the morning skate. They won't always know, but guess what? People will remember when you showed up when you weren't expected to or when you weren't asked to. When you show up and put in the extra effort, people notice.
Well, and that's the biggest thing that I don't want to go too far down this road here right now other than to say this. What I'm doing with this show right now is absolutely no different than what I did with my last job, traveling all over the province of Saskatchewan, representing our show and the Rough Riders in these small towns. It means so much to them to come out. And they often say, why did you come out here? And I say, because you asked. And this week, I had a Stampeders coach say, you got to come to the CFL Combine. Well, you know what? Then I'm going to go. And I won't go any further than that. I mean, we all get it. It's just making people feel important. Now, on the flip side, I did have a business, a very well-heeled business, say to me that he spoke with a pro sports team and said, how come your team isn't active in the community anymore? How come they don't work with the minor teams? And the team said, it's not like it used to be. The players don't want to do that stuff anymore. We can't commit their time on their behalf anymore. Seth, you and I had that discussion on the weekend. I might have a special guest join us here, Moose. As a matter of fact, I will, so get ready for that later. I have a live guest here, but you don't know who it is. By the way, you might want to check the third line, Clark, because it's logged in there. Anyways, I'm going to pull out of this discussion and go back to this one earlier from John in Winnipeg, John Ohm. He said, and I can't find it. Guys, if you can, I don't know whether you'd be able to, and I sort of put you on the spot. But he mentioned the play-in tournament in the NBA. Right now, as of today, our Atlanta Hawks would be playing the Miami Heat in a play-in series, and the Raptors would be playing the Chicago Bulls. Because what is it, 7-10, Seth? 7-10 in each conference gets in. And John goes from Winnipeg, do you think that the NHL would do this? Well, we had it in the bubble in what, 2020? None of us can remember anymore the years, but it was delicious. There was 24 teams there, best of 5 play-in round, and those top seeds got it off. I thought that they would stay with that, Darren, because it invigorated more markets. The Arizona Coyotes could actually say they finally made the playoffs because they were in the play-in tournament, but they never stuck with it. Where's the comment? Can you read it? My screen's not clear enough. I might be able to read it here when it comes up. I'll read it when it shows up on my YouTube feed. Why would the NHL not do this, Darren? And do you think that they will eventually?
I don't think they're going to go back to it. I think if they wanted to, they would have stuck with it. I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it. More markets involved. But I'm sure they did their due diligence on numbers and on added viewership and on ticket sales, which there weren't any because we were in the bubble. But all those things, projections, and thought, you know what, the system is great. We don't want to keep messing with it over and over again.
John, here it is. He says, might be a good question, but here it goes. The 2023 NBA play-in tournament will include teams with the 7th through 10th highest winning percentages at each conference. Could the NHL ever do this? And so, again, my point is they basically did. Apologize. Sounding a little hazy in here today, Moose. You get it?
Couple packs.
It's a big ripping darts. Oh, yeah. You do a show from a casino, that's going to happen. Again, I'm all for it, but I also think knowing the way sports people are, and they're not a whole lot different than normies or civilians that don't work in sports, the NHL won't do it because they weren't the first to think of it, really. It's sort of why I think some Canadian networks don't put the shots up on the screen for an NHL game, because it was the U.S. and Fox that did it first. So they don't want to do it because it wasn't their idea. You understand that concept, right?
Of course. I absolutely understand that, if it's not your idea, you don't want to do it. But that shouldn't detract you from doing what's right and what's going to be, a positive movement forward. But, yeah. But I totally get that's how they think.
It is. Instead of going, that's a brilliant idea. I don't want to. I don't understand the thinking, but whatever. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says Rod will give us the real story of the CFL Combine. That's the thing. I'm only going for one day, but I want to point something else out on this. Mark Killam, tremendous salesman for the CFL. He's the special teams coordinator of the Calgary Stampeders, and he says, yeah, we're doing the usual testing, the bench press, whatever they all do. But then his eyes lit up. He was like, but we're doing inside run and skelly. Like, he was so excited. And he's like, and I said, well, that'll give you a real indication of what these guys can do. And I think he said, I hope nobody gets hurt. And because that's physical pounding, man. Well, in the inside run that it is, it's basically running backs are taking the handoff between the tackles. You got to wear pads for that. So my point is, I'm only going to go for a few hours on the Saturday. And I don't know, there'll be a lot of the other CFL media there for sure, I would hope. But I texted the PR guy for the league and I said, what do I need? It says to RSVP. And he said, just show up and ask for me. I'll get you a pass. Cool dude. That's how we roll. But we'll have more coverage on Monday's show than any other television show, I would suggest, in Canada or the USA. But I also want to remind people that while I've been implored to give a lot of CFL coverage here since I got to Calgary, we're not the salespeople for the CFL. Those would be by name Derek Taylor, Marshall Ferguson, Dustin Nielsen, Michael Ball. The radio guys in this province, that's their job to push and sell the CFL, not mine. Our brand, what I'm pushing is the old RP show and doing what's best for us. And in this instance, that includes going to the CFL Combine on the weekend. Jeff in Winnipeg says, I vote Rod runs the 40 at the Combine. See, this is people like you
like it.
Ruin it.
Approved.
Now you're going to make me not want to go.
Let's go.
Come on, Rod. Dance, monkey.
Okay, right? And this is what annoys me. Come on, Rod. Participate in the Pat Skills competition. Come on, Rod. I don't want to. But then I do. And I go in the fastest skater competition, blow a tire, and wipe out into the boards, exactly like Cale Makar did in this year's NHL skills competition in Sunrise. I was there. And then, oh, Rod, come on, participate in the fastest, hardest shot competition. So I do. Do you know what my miles per hour of my slap shot was, Darren? I'm not afraid to tell you right now. Guess.
Tell me. What was it?
No, guess. Guess.
29.
68 miles an hour.
That's good. That's not bad.
Hot damn.
Oh, Seth is saying the same thing. Come on, you guys.
Nobody's expecting you to come in there and rip it 90 miles an hour.
No, the coaches were, because the rink's full, the Cooperators Arena, Sean Sutter, I will never forget. Number one, I wanted to take a running start at the puck. No, you had to do it from a stationary position. No, you had to do it from a stationary position. Not even a one-timer. The puck wasn't even moving. 68 mile an hour. I looked up at Sean Sutter in the crowd like you would look up at your parents, and Sean was like, ew. 68 mile an hour. My niece Sydney could wrist it probably faster than 68 mile an hour. Seth just said it's not ally Afraidy, but not bad. But the point is, why do you try to put the media in these competitions? Why do they? Guys like, who's the guy from the NFL Network? Rich Eisen.
Yeah,
he ruined it for everybody. He ruined it for everybody because he was doing the 40. He's an old white guy.
I think.
Craig, say what? Say what?
Well, I was going to say, they put you in it to show how good the players are. Here, we'll put somebody else in it because you all wonder, oh, I can shoot as hard as that kid. I can shoot it hard. And then we'll put one of you up there to show you that you really can't.
Yeah, Craig Campbell's watching from the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto right now. He has written in and he says, and that was with your goalie stick. No, it wasn't. But I will say this, when I went out and played rec for the first time, and Dinger's just logged in, so he'll appreciate this. Career goalie here, right now. Going out and playing rec, and this was, well, 20 years ago probably. They hand me a graphite stick for the first time that I'd ever used one.
Yeah.
Quick little snapshot. Took off. I'm like, what is this thing? Made of plutonium? No wonder a fourth-line right winger can shoot 120 miles an hour. It's not about your upper body strength. It's about technology. It's almost not even fair. Yeah. But where'd the time go? Okay, we got to run. I got more stories. We'll push him until tomorrow. Oh, yeah. Steven in North Dakota says, by the way, 68 mile an hour works out to 105 kilometers an hour. So I could tell people that I shoot the puck 105 clicks, not mile an hour. Get away with it. Okay, Moose. Thanks, man, for this today. You have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Two-time Stanley Cup champion Chris Dingman joins us next, and I'd love to know if he has any skills competition stories. We'll be right back. We're live from Grey Eagle Resort and Casino in Calgary, Calgary's entertainment destination. We're at the Stage Bar, live on Game Plus Television, YouTube, and your southern home of sports and talk, WQEE, The Key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
It's March, it's madness. Capital GMC Buick Cadillac has gone mad with crazy low pricing throughout the store. Capital has Sierra 1500s with rates starting as low as 1.49%. Over 400 new vehicles in stock, or drive away in a GM certified pre-owned vehicle. They all come with a 150 plus point inspection and a 3-month warranty. It's March, it's madness! On now at Capital GMC Buick Cadillac, Saskatchewan's #1 GM retailer, capitalgmc.ca. Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Live look in Calgary's entertainment destination, the Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Chris Dingman was an original first-round pick of the Calgary Flames, went on to play 385 NHL games with the Flames, Avalanche, and Lightning, winning 2 Stanley Cups, as we mentioned before the break. And Dinger joins us now, and I want to get into some Brandon Wheat King stuff with him. But Dinger, before we do that, you saw us talking before the break. Skills competition stories, do you have some from your day?
Well, there was one I did in Colorado, and I was in the fastest skater competition, which I don't know, I should have been in, but it was okay for me because you just had to go in a big circle and you didn't have to do any tight turns. So I actually did pretty good. I think I finished in like the top 5, but I think the top guys weren't really trying. And then I did, we did like a 3-guy or a 2-on-0 shootout. You know, like 3 guys would go in until you scored, and I was really good at passing the puck, I guess. So I did okay. But again, I don't think the top guys were trying that much. So that's my skills competition. And my slap shot was, I think it was like 99 miles an hour. But I was using, in my defense, I was using an Easton Ultralight and with a Christian blade. So if I had a one piece, maybe a little different.
That's my point. It might have been better. Yeah. So there's that. And 2, what did you think when Krim pulled a fast one on the LA Kings and got Jonathan Quick in at the trade deadline? It reminded me, 95, you guys in Brandon, you got Colin Kluche and Alexander Vasilevsky from Prince George for nothing. I was in PG at the time, like players to be named later, and I'm like, this is Kelly. This is the Kings got McCrimmoned. What did you think when he pulled that off?
I was not surprised at all. Just based on, you know, when I got traded way back in the day, I was in that Osgood deal, and I wasn't supposed to be, or I was supposed to be on a protected list or something. And, you know, I ran into the old GM from Seattle at a game in Tampa about 5.5, 6 years ago, and he said, I just want to tell you, I'm still pissed because Krimmer kind of, you know, let's use a bad word, you know, Krimmer, whatever, screwed us over. You weren't supposed to be available, and yada, yada, yada. So it doesn't surprise me at all. I think Kelly's he's a really good GM. He's a great hockey mind, and he finds a way to do stuff. So I don't know how Vegas every year, they just make trades and trades and trades, and how they have the cap space. He's a magician. So, you know, good on him. Hopefully it works out for him because they've had a good team for a few years. But you look at this year, oh my goodness, there was a lot of good teams that loaded up at the deadline.
Well, that's why I asked you, because you've seen it from the inside. You were just a kid then, but Kelly's doing the same thing in Vegas that he did in Brandon. So speaking of that, Thoughts on a Stanley Cup final? We won't hold you to it, Dinger, but who are you liking right now?
Oh, man. That's a tough one. Do I have to give an opinion? I think Colorado will be. I think Colorado will be dangerous once they get healthy. But I think Edmonton. You have to. If they get halfway decent goaltending, I think Edmonton. You got to like them just because trying to defend those guys. And I don't go to a ton of games just because I'm busy and I'm over like driving 30 minutes and finding parking and all that. But just to have that elite level talent in McDavid and Draisaitl is just ridiculous. So I think you maybe have Edmonton because they could have been there last year. Maybe it wasn't that offside or not offside call. I think it was Makar had control of the puck or didn't. And I think out east. Oh my goodness, I got like Tampa still. I think just being back there. I think those guys know what it takes to win, and they have good goaltending. And then just Boston. I mean, you can't. But then Toronto, I'll pick Toronto just because I want to. No offense, I want to see them lose, just to see what happens. Because I think I'm not a huge Dubas fan at all, but and Sheldon Keefe was my first roommate in Tampa, and he's a little different guy. But I think Dubas did everything he could in adding some grit and some toughness. That was a blame previous year, so I would like to see them lose in the first round just to see what happened. And that's kind of vindictive, maybe, or I don't know. Maybe that's a little crooked of me, but it's just to see the media storm.
There are no wrong answers at this time, but I want to ask you this. As a guy who's won 2 Stanley Cups, how are you on momentum going into the playoffs? We're around 10, 11, 12 games for everybody left. Do they need to be cranking it up right now? Or, they say it's a new season, which it is. How are you on momentum going into the Stanley Cup playoffs?
Yeah, I think you want to be playing good. I don't think you need to win every game. I think if you look at the totality of a season, and coaches are pretty good at it, there's some games where you lose where you should win. But I think, for me, as long as, you want to have your team healthy, especially while your top guys. Who cares about us 4 flying guys as much? But, you want to be healthy. You want to be playing the game the right way. So momentum-wise, I think as long as your team's playing well and you're gelling, let's say you're creating opportunities and you lose by a goal or in overtime by an unlucky bounce, I think definitely you want to be playing good. I don't think you can flick a switch and, just all of a sudden we're like, oh, we're playing like crap. And then, oh, yeah, we're just going to turn it on because we're the defending Stanley Cup champions or whatever it may be. So I think definitely for sure. And I think in the past, even go back to Colorado days where Pierre Lacroix would make trades like a month before the deadline just so guys could gel a little bit. And I think we've seen a little bit of that this year with some of the trades early. So it gives your team time, to get guys in there and see how things are going to gel. So definitely, I think you want to be playing well going in the playoffs. But hockey's a crazy sport. It's a crazy game, so who knows? Anything could happen.
I tell you what, last question. And I'd love to do a sports banquet with you where we could really get into this. But you were in Colorado when Ray Bourque showed up. What was it like when he walked into the room and dropped this bag and you guys went on to win a Stanley Cup?
Wow, it was a couple different things happened. So it was unreal because it's Ray Bourque. So a couple quick stories. I think the one was that when he got there, he needed his wrist taped at, I think, at the 7-minute mark or 5-minute mark, or, before the period started. So, he needed that. And then we had, obviously, Patrick Waugh and Peter Forsberg had some injuries and different guys had stuff they had to deal with. So watching the trainer run around and try and, service all the top guys, when Ray showed up, I was dying. His name was Pat Carnes, and we got a couple of us 3rd and 4th line guys and the 6th and 7th defensemen. We were dying laughing because the poor trainer was trying to get to everybody and service everybody. So, that was unbelievable just watching that. I think, Ray was back using the Sherwood sticks. And I asked him, hey, could I try one? Or where? He's like, yeah, you want, what are you thinking? So he had the Sherwood guy. I had 3 blades and 3 sticks within a week, which is unbelievable. And that's because Ray Bourque called. And then, obviously everything he did in the leadership of his and going into the coaches. I love telling the story where in St. Louis in the playoffs, and I think we're going into double or triple overtime. He had already played 35 or maybe 40 minutes, and he went in to the coach's room and basically slammed the door, came out a minute and a half later and said, everyone's going to play, be ready. And he basically went in there and told the coaches, I'm playing too much. You got to play everybody. Let's go. And then all of a sudden everyone was playing, the coach was rolling the lines. And so it's 3 quick stories. So it was unreal for him to walk in and just his presence. And, he made it not about him, even though a lot of it was, win one for Ray. But he was like, no, win it for yourself. Because when you do, I'll be right there. So unbelievable guy, unbelievable teammate. And Oh yeah, we could do a sportsman's dinner or banquet or something and tell a lot of stories. A lot.
No kidding. Well, we'll put that on the bucket list. Dinger, I'm hoping life is as good as it looks for you, man. I appreciate the time and enjoy the hockey. Hopefully we can do it down the playoff trail here.
Yeah, absolutely. No problem. Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate it. Two-time Stanley Cup champion and Brandon Wheat Kings great Chris Dingman. We'll be right back with Overtime Live from Grey Eagle after this timeout. We're at Calgary's entertainment destination on Game Plus TV, Channel 924 on TELUS Cable, also YouTube, Live, iHeartRadio, and your southern home of sports and talk, WQEE, The Key.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
It's March. It's madness. Capital Ford has gone mad with crazy low pricing throughout the store. Save up to $7,000 on a brand new F-150. They have over 150 available right now. Or drive home in a new to you used vehicle. Plus, Capital Ford offers the highest guaranteed trade-in value, or they'll give you $500 cash. Get your hands on a new ride before they come to their senses. On now at Capital Ford. Visit CapitalFordLincoln.com.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I gotta hit the beat.
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
The SJHL raffle is underway with your chance to win a brand new Polaris side-by-side, courtesy the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. Tickets are available now until April 23rd, with the draw taking place live on SJHL Insiders April 27th. 1 for $25, 3 for $60, or 10 for $100. But there are only 5,000 tickets available. Get yours today at sjhlraffle.ca.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
The studio is Grey Eagle Resort and Casino, Calgary's entertainment destination. Overtime's brought to you by the Four Seasons Sports Palace, your home for the UFC and the National Hockey League. And Clark, I did warn you, right? We got Seth Anderson with us, my good friend from the Biz Dojo podcast. Calgary guy. There you are.
Oh, my God.
Give us a smile, Seth. Thanks for coming down. You did not expect to be going on the air today, did you?
It wasn't in my life plan today, but thank you so much.
It's cool. Seth is, well, you got your Biz Dojo podcast
Biz
hat
Dojo.
on. He's a basketball guy. He's run junior hockey programs, teams before. Well, team. Where was it? Wainwright?
The Wainwright Bisons, yes,
Right,
sir.
so he's into all of that. And you've kind of been sitting here. He's a guy that I've gotten to know over the last year. He's going to be our Canadian Elite Basketball League insider, by the way. He's our CEBL guy. And you were sitting here nodding your head at a lot of the things we were talking about. What were your takeaways from today's show? Anything?
A couple of things, actually. I was thinking about that whole playoff topic, the NBA with the 7 to 10 play-in
Yes, I
tournament.
knew that would get you.
Yeah. I think there's differing thoughts on that whole thing, but I don't think they were the first to do it. I think the MLB, when they expanded their playoffs, that opened the eyes of a lot of the pro leagues. They've made over $100 million in incremental revenue by doing that. So, I mean, it stands to reason that combined with more exciting single elimination games, I think all the leagues should look for more ways to get eyeballs on the TV set, and there's no better way to do that than to have single elimination games, and then if you can drive up revenue in the process, I imagine the NHL
See, that's the thing. When the NHL did it in the bubble, there were no fans.
Yeah.
So they had their 24 teams, but they weren't making any more money. As a matter of fact, it probably cost them money.
Sure.
But to do it now, what's the downside?
I don't see a downside.
No. So there's that. Now, remind me, and I will get to the CEBL, but Glenn Erickson's watching in Medicine Hat. He's a hockey guy, he's a golf guy, and he's a media guy. Regarding me playing in the skills competition back in the day for the Pats, he says, Rod, I think your fan base wants you to become a modern-day George Plimpton. The old guys recognize Plimpton. Enjoy the notoriety. Everybody, go Google George Plimpton. He was an old writer from the States, Northeast, and he played goal with the Bruins, did he? No, maybe the Philly Flyers, and I think he went out and played some Major League Baseball. I don't want to be that. That's the thing. The notoriety. I don't need any more notoriety. I want to do what I'm doing. Now, having said that, there's been talk of driving in a race car and doing that. I might do that. We'll see, but it's not something that I'm dying to do, okay? Now, you're going to have pro basketball in Calgary for the first time ever, Seth. That is your number one sport, right?
Big basketball fan, yeah.
Yes. How do you think the Calgary Surge are going to go over here?
I think it's going to go well. It's my son plays basketball, so I've done a little bit of coaching in the CNBA and just gotten to know people throughout the community. And I think we've got a pretty good basketball underswell within the community. And I think Jason and his team's approach is going to be very grassroots focused. So I don't know. I think it's going to go well.
It's kind of interesting how the CEBL has gone about things. And I had one team president in the CEBL say, Rod, you're the only media that covers us. And I'm thinking, well, I'm either way ahead of everybody or way behind everybody. I don't know. But they're going into Winnipeg. With the Sea Bears.
That's right, yeah.
And then they come to Calgary, 1.5 million people. There's clearly a method behind their madness of what they're doing. They identified this as somewhere that'll work.
Yeah, and we had Mike Morelli on the Biz Dojo quite some time ago, I think in our second season, and he was talking about coming to Calgary back then. I think the biggest thing they were looking for was a venue that made sense. They hosted the BCL Championships, which was more of an international tournament.
Basketball Liga Americas?
That's the
That's
one.
where I met you.
Yeah. What was that, January last year at the Winsport?
Can't remember.
Not a bad seat in the house. I think it was probably a little bit smaller than they were hoping, but I think it'll do the trick to get things off the ground.
Well, you just never know. Let's just not forget about this for a second. They've got the NHL here with the Flames, the AHL, the Wranglers, the WHL, the Hitmen, Junior A teams everywhere, Junior B that you've been involved in.
And I was with the Calgary Canucks for 3-4 years.
Oh, so there's that. I didn't know that. So here's my point.
Yeah.
When they were talking about bringing the Wranglers here, because I am in that hockey community, they thought, we don't have a rink big enough to host the Wranglers, and the crowds we'll get. Have you seen the crowds the Wranglers are getting? They could have played in a community rink.
Oh, yeah, they could play at Max Bell probably instead of the Canucks.
Do you think that'll change?
I think it's a totally different, not totally different, but I think there's a basketball demographic that exists, and I don't see any reason why you couldn't fill Winsport 10 times. 10,
for the Surge.
For the Surge.
Right. So, but I'm saying that I think they thought the Wranglers were going to get 5, 6, 7,000, and they haven't got 2.
I think the hockey market is tough. It's very saturated. There's a lot of teams. I mean, there's a reason why there's only one junior A team now, and even that team I don't think gets a ton of support. So I don't know. I think people have a lot of options to spend their entertainment dollars in Calgary when it relates to hockey. So my perspective would have been that the Wranglers would struggle to fill that rink. However, I did go to a game, and the hockey was really good, and it was a great experience.
It's outstanding.
Cost-wise, I don't know. I think over time that could build into something.
Thank you, Ryan O'Radio at WQEE. He says, another successful show, RP and crew. Thanks, Ryan, and thanks for having us on. We are Atlanta's NHL show. I never get tired of saying that. John in Edmonton says, why is the basketball team playing at Winsport Arena? You kind of covered that, but can you say it again?
Well, I mean, you probably have to ask them exactly why they picked that venue, but I think they were looking for something in that small to mid-size, and that was the best venue they could find in Calgary.
How many options are there?
Not a lot.
Right. Like where you could put down a hardwood floor and play.
I believe they did have a pro basketball team back in like the mid-2015 era, the Crush or something like that. They were playing at a SAIT, but that never really got off the ground. So yeah, they wanted a professional type setting. If you go to the other communities, they're a little bit bigger, but I think this will work.
Seth is going to be our CEBL insider. He doesn't know it yet, but he does now. And in 30 seconds, tell them about the Biz Dojo podcast.
Yeah, the Biz Dojo podcast. You can download us. We're on all the major streaming platforms. We're in our 6th season now. We've interviewed entrepreneurs, leaders, athletes, musicians from all over the world and hear their stories and ultimately just try to inspire people. So.
Awesome. You do a great job. Thanks for coming down, Seth.
Thank you, sir.
Seth Anderson came down to watch. We threw him on the air. That could happen to you, too. Thank you today to Chris Dingman, Eric Engels. Thanks for nothing. Didn't show up. Sportsnet Montreal, but maybe we'll get him soon. Moose, of course, our entire crew, and mostly the audience, because without you, there would be no us. Grey Eagle for having us, and we'll see you here tomorrow with Theo Fleury live on Game Plus. And hey, applause even. We're getting better. See you tomorrow at noon Eastern right here.
Who has more fun than us?